In the cloud. Great. Welcome. I'm Kathy Mazak, and I'm here with Gina Robinson, and we are going to be hosting the Q&A about our Navigate program, which is opening for enrollment on officially on Black Friday, which is Friday of next week, until Cyber Monday, which is the Monday after that. So that is until the 29th of November. However, if you signed up for that free freeing time sneak peek that a lot of you, actually over 1,000 people signed up for that sneak peek. If you signed up for it, then we are opening the doors earlier for you. You'll get the enrollment email on Wednesday, the 24th in the morning. And the reason that you want to be getting that email early is just so that if you would like to sign up, if you're one of the first 15 people, you can come to our 3-day online writing retreat. We're calling it the New Year's Writing Retreat. It's at the end of January 2022, specifically January 27th, 28th, and 29th. And so you get to come to that for free, which usually are just our Amplify and Elevate members are invited. So it's a great experience. We do peer review, we have a guest speaker, we do workshops. And so it's a great way to kick off the year. So before we get started with just questions from the crowd, I want to do a real quick program tour. And then I have kind of some frequently asked questions that might answer your question. So when we get to that part, you can go ahead and put your questions in the chat and I'll answer them and intersperse my frequently asked questions with that so that you get all the information you need before we are done today. And I'm happy to hang out and chat for an hour. I have a hard stop for kid school birthday party after that. So I'll be checking out later. Gina, you want to say hi or just introduce yourself? You look pretty.
Thank you.
Looks like we're in the same glasses. Okay.
Yeah, cool glasses club. So I'm Gina Robinson. I'm one of the coaches, and let's see, I'm super excited to talk about the Navigate program. And let's see, I don't know, we've had some people go through it that have really gotten a lot out of it, and so I'm really excited about this.
And Gina and I have been working on some content changes as well that we're really excited about. And I would say that the program is maturing, actually. We're in year 5 of offering the program, and it has evolved in different ways. And we really think we're offering something really impactful this round. The offer changes slightly, and we keep trying to improve the program and offer the kind of support people need. So to give you a quick program tour, the program is called Navigate Your Writing Roadmap. It is a year-long program that combines recorded modules, so like training modules, lessons, with live support so that you can meet your publishing goals. So it really is a writing and publishing program with the goal being that you publish more things. Of course, we know that in order to publish more things, you have to find time to write. And so that's a big part of the program, which I'll explain in a minute. Throughout the year-long program, Gina and I have designed 5 milestones that we feel very confident that you can hit during the program, given the kind of support that you're going to get. The first milestone may seem like something simple, but I encourage you to think okay, how would my writing and publishing be different if I hit this milestone? So around 6 weeks into the program, we have a milestone that is, you have 2 hours of writing blocked on your calendar and you honor those 2 hours. So around week 6, we feel like you'll have completed enough of our time management and writing systems training to have that in place. Also utilizing our co-writing sessions, which we have every day. You don't have to do them every day, but we have them available to you 6 times a day to do co-writing together on Zoom. So that's you're doing it together with a group of people, and it helps you kind of really hold that writing time, get your butt in the chair, keep that date with your writing. That's our first milestone. Now, how we check in with you about milestones is that you will be asked to fill out a form that just asks very simply whether you've hit the milestone or not, why you think you hit it, what maybe was holding you back from hitting it. And then someone from our coaching team will reach out to you by email and either say, yay, you're awesome, you did it, or we'll say, okay, given that those are your restrictions, those are the things that happened, here's what we think you can do. Okay. So at each of these milestone check-in points, you have a coach check-in where as long as you submit your form, whether you hit the milestone or not, and especially if you don't hit the milestone, we still want you to submit your form so that we can kind of nudge you in the right direction and give you that support. That's why we feel so confident that you can hit these milestones. Okay, so milestone 1 was kind of straightforward. Milestone 2 is that you have your pipeline mapped out. And when you're in our program, you'll see the importance of the your part, your pipeline. So we teach you how to map out a pipeline that becomes like your work plan for the year. It becomes like your kind of almost your strategic plan. And it's very individualized to you. So it captures your process. And it is very highly designed for you. So we walk you through that process. You map out all of your current like in process projects on there. And that becomes like your guide for the rest of the program. So that's milestone 2. It happens around week 10. Then milestone 3 is that you will submit a low-hanging fruit writing project for publication. So I want you to think right now, and if you would like, you can share in the chat. Think about a project that's been hanging out somewhere on your hard drive or in the cloud. And it is something that you really want to get to. It just needs a little bit of work. You just can't seem to get back to it, but it's, maybe it's 60, 80% done. It's in a draft, it's partially drafted. I want you to envision that project in your head. So think about that project. And now I want you to imagine yourself submitting that project to a journal, or if it's if it's your book proposal, submitting it to a publisher. Because that's what will happen for milestone 3. So milestone 3 is positioned within the program that you've gone through all of our module trainings. You've been consistently hitting at least 2 hours of butt in the chair writing per week, which might not seem like a lot, but absolutely is if it is, in community and with energy and using the writing systems we teach you. And we are going to do support you additionally with writing sprints. So right before the milestone 3, which is submitting the low-hanging fruit writing project, we're going to have a writing sprint kind of leading up to that, where Gina usually runs these, like that we walk you through breaking down like, okay, what are the tasks you need to do to complete? And then we run kind of this proprietary sprint process, but we do it live, like we do it guided. So that you have this support all the way through. At the end of the 2 weeks, you're submitting that thing. So that's milestone 3. That's in March. Milestones 4 and 5 are the last 2 milestones of the program. The last one ends at the end of the program, and the milestone 4 is in the summer. And these are, create your own milestones. So everybody in Navigate is at a different career level. They might have different goals. They might be at different institutions. So we wanted to give you instruction about how to create meaningful milestones for yourself. Okay, so you're going to build on that momentum of having submitted that low-hanging fruit project. You're going to keep focusing on moving the projects in the pipeline that you mapped out forward. You're going to be using those 2 hours a week of writing. And we think that if you have all of those things in place, you're going to be well positioned to design your own milestone. Tell us what it is and tell us if you've hit it or not. So examples of a milestone could be, a grant writing project or a piece of a grant. It could be a journal. It could be a book review. It could be a book chapter. It could be really anything that makes sense for you. And you'll have such a better sense of what that will be because you'll have done the Navigate modules, which I'll talk about in a second. So milestone 4 and 5, again, for all the milestones, you're going to check in with us. We are going to give you our feedback to kind of help you course correct if you didn't hit the milestone when you wanted to, will help you kind of reset your goals and move on through the program. So by the time you have finished the year, we think that not only will you be less stressed, more in control of your career, and kind of be crafting your career to support what you really want it to be. We think you'll have at least 3 publications more than you would have had if you hadn't taken our program. So that is how the program kind of functions over the year. In order for you to hit those milestones, we have different pieces of the program that support you. We have daily, weekly, and semesterly support, including daily co-writing sessions via Zoom. And if you're in Momentum, then you know what these sessions are like. We get on Zoom together, we put our goals in the chat, and you can keep your camera on or off, but you're with other people while you're writing, and you get that support. There's a time in the calendar, which makes it easier for you to keep that date. And we have 6 of these sessions a day. But the Zoom link for co-writing is always open. So you could also find a buddy if none of the 6 sessions work for you. Some of those sessions are coach monitored. Some of them are community monitored. And we do not expect you to be writing 6 hours a day on Zoom, but instead are just offering you different times during the week that you could possibly join. And we just know that this has really helped our Momentum community to keep their writing moving forward. And we suggest 2 hours a week as your kind of the consistent place you want to be. You can obviously do more or less than that. We are going to have we have a weekly Momentum Mindset call, which is a half-an-hour group coaching call on Mondays at 11:30 Eastern, where we walk you through mindset work. Because what we found is that in order to implement the things in the Navigate program that we teach you about time management, about writing systems, about pipeline systems, about planning systems, you need to have the support of a community that is going to help you develop your writer's mindset and your mindset around setting boundaries and asking for what you need and all of that kind of stuff. And that's what those Monday calls do. If you can't make the Monday at 11:30 call live, we provide you with they're basically all run in the same little pattern. There's basically prompts. We divide you into rooms. We kind of shoot you into breakout rooms. You break out, you come back. We provide you with those prompts. So if you can't make that call live, you can journal those prompts. You can do what I like to call walk and think with those prompts. The important thing is that you engage with that mindset work every week. Other things, we do writing sprints, we do planning workshops. All of those things are live and they will take place at different times throughout the year. It's all set up on your syllabus. And we also have an asynchronous community, which we are not running on Facebook. We are running on Slack. So we are, you're hearing it here first. We are divorcing Facebook and we are moving our community to Slack. Gina and I have taken, especially Gina has taken a lot of time to craft that and figure out how it's going to look. We feel like it's going to be a much more intentional space than a Facebook group, a much more intimate space than a Facebook group, and a place where you can really control notifications and engagement and that kind of stuff for yourself. You can decide how to engage in that group. All right. So that is kind of the overview of the program in terms of what it includes, but I wanted to just show you real quick the framework of the content of the program before we get to questions. And so this program, the recorded content or the modules of the program covers 3 basic areas: time management systems, writing systems, and pipeline and planning systems. And what we have developed over the course of the 5 years that we've been developing this program is that when you have time systems, time management systems in place, your time kind of dialed in, and you have created a sustainable relationship-based writing system for yourself, then obviously you're going to write more, right? That's the result that you're going to have. When you have this relationship-based writing system that we teach in our program, plus pipeline and planning systems, the project management systems that you need, those two things together are really going to help you control your career. And writing systems, we teach and we see writing as like the entry point into career management. And so it becomes clear, it becomes clear that when you focus on your writing, you're actually focusing your career, and your career narrative becomes easier to write. When you go up for promotion, your documents are easier to construct, because writing is the organizer of those things. It's the entry point into creating that kind of control and crafting of your career. So when you have these, when you have these two things in line together, then you get that career control. And when you have your time management systems and your planning systems really nailed down, then you'll publish more. So you want your bullseye here, right, is that you're going to write more, publish more, and control your career. And this is a messy diagram that I just accidentally showed you, but I'm going to show it to you anyway. So many words. This basically just shows that for each of these 3 curricular areas, we have these different lessons, or these, not in lessons, modules, because then within each module, there's lessons. So this kind of just gives you a general map of our framework for the Navigate program. So having said all those things, I would love to, I would love to get your questions, so you can go ahead and put them in the chat. I'm going to answer the number 1 and 2 question that we get while you're putting your questions in the chat. And we'll have time, if you want to unmute and ask your question, we can do that as well. But let me answer these first unasked questions, are the ones we get all the time. The first one is, I'm so busy. How am I going to have time to do all those wonderful things you just talked about? Okay, so we think that the time commitment, we've designed the program so that the time commitment is 1 to 2 hours per week. Now, you might be thinking, well, if I had 1 to 2 hours a week, I could be doing a lot of things, right? We think so too, but we want to help you get that 1 to 2 hours. We really want to help you figure out how you are going to carve out that 1 or 2 hours a week that is for writing, that is tangential, or the sub effect of that is for career development. So the way that we do that is through the first part of the curriculum. The first 3 systems we teach you are our time management systems, and they include the free system that we gave away in the sneak peek, right? But that's actually the last one of the 3. The first one is the mission method, where we teach you how to write the academic mission statement, which is directly in line with the activities alignment module. In the activities alignment module, what we do is we have you take that mission statement and analyze everything you're doing in the career. This is the module that like blows people's minds, because they're like, whoa, I'm doing too much. I'm doing disparate things, and we help you, we give you a system and a process using rubrics to kind of cull away all those extra activities you've been picking up over the years and really focusing your career behind your academic mission statement. Then we take you through the freeing time module, and the combination of those things will liberate, we think, 3 or 4 hours a week. And so we're only asking for you to use 2 hours of those, 2 of those hours a week for the program, and eventually for your writing. So at the beginning, during the first 10 weeks, when you're doing the program modules, you use those 1 or 2 hours for doing the program modules. And we make doing the program modules really easy for you. You can come to a co-writing session and do them. Since the co-writing sessions are muted, you can use them as a co-working session, which, by the way, a lot of people do, especially around heavy grading time. Sometimes people come to co-writing and they're like, look, I just need to keep myself here and grade for an hour. And that's totally fine. So we encourage you, find those 1 or 2 co-writing sessions a week that work for you. Use them to complete the course materials. Another thing about time and course materials, we offer the course through our teachable learning management system, and also as a private podcast. And so you do not have to sit at your computer to complete these activities, or complete the modules. You can do them in your car, listening to a private podcast. And also something that I'm only showing you all is if you really were like, I want to do this, I don't know, sitting on my porch or whatever, we are sending everyone who enrolls during this enrollment period a binder with our workbook printed in it. And this is from the printer. They're printing them now. They're just waiting for your address. And so you would be able to just like podcast all the content and go through the workbook that way if you'd like. So there's different options. So if time was your question, that's my answer for time. We really think that this program creates time for you. So if that's what you're worried about, we've got you. Like that is the first thing that we address in this program. And the second thing that we hear is questions about money, right? So this program, for the year-long program with the weekly coaching calls, the daily co-writing, the 10 system modules, the sprints, the milestones, the coach check-ins, and all of that cost $29.97, so $2,997 for the year, or you can pay $297 a month. So if you're like, well, I don't know if I can afford it or whatever, the payment plan was designed for that, the $297 a month. If you think about kind of all the things you get for that $297, you can easily spend $297 on like a pre-conference, workshop that you never implement, right? And so this is really meant to be like, we want to give you the support so that you will implement all of these things and it will become this like a practice where we really want your writing and publishing to be a consistent, not stressful, lovely practice that becomes part. You don't have to wait for a summer and binge write or write on the weekends or at nights or before people wake up or any of that. It becomes integrated in your career. It becomes essential to your career. And so we offer the payment plan to make it like really accessible. If you are like, well, I want my university to pay for it, then we absolutely can help you with that. However, the window for enrollment is short. It's, if you're on the early bird list, then it's Wednesday through Monday. And so if you have a university credit card, it's easy to process that payment. If you don't, you want to reach out to support@kathymazak.com right now and ask Paulette to help you with processing a university payment. If you're not sure if your university will pay and you have to ask and there's going to be a delay, then what we suggest you do is enroll on the payment plan. And then we can't refund you payments that you paid in, but we can stop your payments and your university can kind of pay off the balance. So those are different options. And I would love to answer questions. So I don't see any questions in the chat. You can ask them in the chat or you can unmute and ask. I'll do that teacher wait time thing. So I'll take a drink of water. You can ask me your questions.
I arrived a little late to the Q&A, but I wanted to know if you think it's a good program for someone in a sabbatical year.
Oh, that's a great question. Thank you. Okay, so is it a good program for someone in a sabbatical year? I think it's a great program for someone in a sabbatical year, and I'll tell you why. The problem with a sabbatical year, everybody wants a sabbatical, right? It's like, yay, we get it. Then we have all this time. And the problem is we have all this time. And so it's like not structured. So the cool thing about Navigate is that it will give you some structure, right? It's a year-long syllabus. So even though the first 10 weeks is like more structured than the rest, because the first 10 weeks you're doing the modules, you still have like a consistent weekly writing structure built into the program. I especially think that those Monday momentum mindset calls will be really, really important for you to just like keep touching base, keep thinking about how you're going to move your project forward. So if you haven't gone to the podcast and found there's an episode about planning a sabbatical or planning a research leave. So if you've heard that one of the things I say in there is the same thing, right? Like, it's like, you need some kind of structure or else you're not gonna, or else it's gonna like disappear. That's what people tell me, you know? So I think that Navigate can provide that structure for you. So I hope that's helpful. And congratulations on a sabbatical, yay. Sarah asked in the chat, do you have any resources to help us ask for funding from our departments? Yes. So first, let me give you like the 3-minute version of asking for funding. And then I will point you towards the podcast that there is an episode on funding. And there is also on the website, there is a blog post about funding. So, but I'll give you the kind of the 2-minute spiel about it. I saw, Amy, that you've got to run. Does enrollment in the previous Navigate cohort impact the cost at all? Will we need to re-enroll for the new year, new program? So Amy, before you run, if I just answer that real quick and I'll go back to Sarah. If you already enrolled in the program, in the Navigate program, what you got was the modules, right? So you still have those modules. If you want to do the program with the milestones and everything, you'll need to re-enroll. So that's how we're going to run it this time. So you can, you know, you could always just like, you have those modules, you could do them again. And yeah, so for right now, we would ask you to re-enroll, but you know what? Just write to Paulette, just write to support@kathymazek.com and ask that question as well. And we can give you kind of a more calm answer, because if you have to go someplace else in 2 minutes. So yeah, because there might be an alumni program option in there. I don't know. I have to, that's a good question. Okay. Sarah, so resources. So in terms of asking for funding, here's actually, I wrote up something. Let me read my notes. The first thing is I just want to emphasize that you don't need anybody's permission to do the program, right? Like if you want to get funding, then that's great. And the tack to take when you're asking for funding is twofold. And I'm also going to give you a caveat. The tack is you need to make your participation in this program valuable to your university's goals. Okay, or your department's goals. So what I always tell people to do, go to the strategic plan, figure out what your university is saying about professor retention, about women professors, about professors of color, about, you know, wherever, like, there's usually language in there about retaining, you know, amazing faculty. So you want to kind of latch onto that and say, look, in the strategic plan, it says this. And by doing this program, I am going to be adding value to the university community. Okay. You don't want to make it about like, I don't feel confident about my writing, so I'm going to do this program. You want to pitch it like, this is how this program is going to solve your problem, dean, or your problem, department chair. Okay, so that's something I think that's important to kind of, that's the most important thing. If you can hook your doing the program to the university's goals, that is going to be the most compelling argument. But the other thing about it, the caveat is that sometimes when we go to our department chairs, and our department chair might be thinking, well, Sarah's awesome. She doesn't need that. Because they actually, not because they think you're not worth investing in, but because they think from the outside, they're thinking you're fine. So, excuse me. So that's always why you want to kind of you want to pitch it as like, this is for my own self-development. I will be even more amazing. Like this is a way to contribute to my retention at this university. And this is the value that me doing this program will bring. So you always want to kind of pitch it like that. I don't have the podcast episode at my fingertips, but if you go to the podcast and kind of scroll through the episodes, it's probably within the first 25. which talks about kind of that process. And then you can also go to the blog and kind of search for funding and get some resources there as well. Okay, awesome. Anita, hello. How many people do you expect to have in the program? Is enrollment limited? So enrollment is not limited. Everything that we do in the program can scale. So that means that we could have 30 people or we could have 100 people. And because we have, 3 coaches, we can handle that. Last year, over this enrollment period, 66 people enrolled. In May, 55 people enrolled. So I'm anticipating that we might have 50 people come in if if everything goes well. But regardless, all of these pieces we are able to deliver to you with the same amount of quality, whether we have 50 people or 100 people. Including, that's why we do forms for the milestones, because that they get all processed through our coaches and they get back to you by email. And in terms of those group coaching calls, they are coach led. When you break out into rooms, you're not with a coach, so it's like the coach gets you started, you break out, and then you come back and debrief with the coach as a big group. So the great thing about that is that development of peer relationships. So that is something that is that's what people like about our programs, right? So they come to the program because of the content that we talk about, but inside the program, they're like, oh my gosh, I met all these cool people and I feel understood and seen and all of that stuff, right? So that's what, so we create those spaces where you can have that peer-to-peer interaction, which, by the way, if you've heard me rant about this on the podcast, is what I think people really need when they're asking for accountability. So there's lots of ways that accountability gets built into this program, right? The milestones are a way to do accountability. But I don't like the word accountability because I feel like it's really paternalistic. So we find that the community provides that accountability. I mean, the co-writing sessions are a way to do accountability, right? Because it's it's a specific time on the calendar and I'm going to show up there, right? There's other people waiting for me. You're going to start to see, if you always go at 8 o'clock on Wednesdays, the same 5 people are there, the same 10 people are there, and and because you put your goals in the chat, you start to get to know what they're working on. And then that community that you're developing in the Slack channels, in the Monday calls, in the co-writing, even though the co-writing is silent, you start to see faces and get to know people. And then that's its own kind of accountability. And I think it's much less pejorative. That's what I want to say about that. So let's see. Oh, thank you, Gina, for finding that episode. Awesome. Melanie, when we enroll on time, when does the program start? Okay, so we've had a question come through. This has come through already through, Paulette's fielding all the support emails. And so maybe it was you, Melanie, I can't remember, who asked the other day, oh, I just don't have a minute. I don't have a minute between now and January. So I'm going to enroll now, but I wouldn't really have a chance to work on things. Anita, maybe. Okay. I don't have a chance to work on things until January. So what we decided to do, so I'm going to say a couple things about that because I've been really thinking about that. One is the easy answer, which is we'll make a January start syllabus. So it's fine. You know what I mean? So we'll have the November start, or it's really December 1st, right? The December start. And we'll have a January start. It's only a month difference. It's totally fine. And you can follow either version. But I did write notes about that. There it is. I found the notes. So the thing though that I like about at least starting to do something in December, and the some things that we have available for you are, we're going to do a getting started right call in December this is all gonna be on your syllabus. On December 2, we'll do a getting started right call. Whether you can come live or whether you watch the recording, we're just gonna go, it's kind of like a live chance that once you're in, okay, here's the plan, here's what we're doing. And then we have a little plot twist bonus that, again, I'm going to tell you all about, which is the mini treat. So we're going to do a mini treat on December 16th, which is like a day long. It's a 6 hours. It's just like 10 to 4 New York City time. We're going to do a mini treat. That's going to be a live retreat online for you. So even if you don't start looking at modules or anything, you can see the Getting Started Right call in December, do the mini treat, take your Christmas break or your holiday break, your New Year's break, and then, like really dig in January. When you join the program, you get all the modules at once. Like they're not dripped out. So you could start doing them. You could do them all in a bunch, like you could listen to the whole podcast version of it. There's some flexibility, but we wanted to give you a syllabus because people like order. They like to be walked through. So the program officially starts right there, in that first week of December with our Getting Started Right call. But you don't have to we're also going to do a January start syllabus in case you want to do that. What I want you to do though is have your mind in the right place so that when you hit January, you're starting. Because what I don't want is you're being like, oh, I bought this thing, I'm putting it on the shelf until January. And then the semester starts, things start to happen, I want you to get ahead of the ball here. But yes, we'll do a January start version of the syllabus where we'll kind of collapse some of we'll load up the modules a little bit heavy at the beginning. But officially we start in December because it's let's get ahead of this, right? So hi, Ezra, I'm glad you made it. A question around support if we're struggling with the program. So yes, if you want to unmute, Ezra, you can, and the enrollment closes on Cyber Monday at midnight. That is Monday, November 29th at midnight is when enrollment closes. Go ahead, Ezra, ask your question.
Oh, no, so I had also popped it in that question box, but I was just wondering what happens if we're struggling, if things aren't working for us. I know you already mentioned that there would be something around the milestones. So if we haven't met our milestones, then we might be able to reach out to you. But I just don't know what kind of questions you get and what kind of things people struggle with. So I just wondered how you would support us. And you already confirmed then the Ask Me Anything sessions will also be continuing. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. So yeah, the Ask Me Anything, we're changing to Ask Us Anything. So it's not just always me, but that's the weekly way that you can get help, right? Daily way that you can get help is there's in Slack. We're going to run the community in Slack. Gina and I just decided there's going to be a channel called Hive Mind, and this is going to be the channel where you can ask your peers for help. Okay. Then once a week, you can submit a question and coaches will give you help. And then around each milestone, you'll have more direct kind of contact with the coaches, but by email. So it's there's a milestone form. It asks you to report your, in a very kind way. It asks you to report, did you meet the milestone or did you not? Why do you think you met it? Why do you think maybe you didn't meet it? And then what we're going to be doing, since this is the first time we're doing milestones, the coaches are creating the responses with this cohort, right? So basically what we're thinking of doing is doing video responses, just because it's easier. You don't have to, it doesn't feel composed. So we'll use Loom video, which is a really easy way for us to make videos. And we'll send you in an email. So if you wrote to us and you're well, I didn't map my pipeline because I'm really confused about this part of it, then we can send you a video that addresses that. And so there isn't, and then if we find that we're having a ton of questions around something, maybe I'll add something to the program. Maybe I'll do a live Q&A like this so that people can we're taking the no client left behind attitude towards this program. But also I want to say that all of you are overachievers. A lot of the time, the Navigate people are I want to make the deadlines. I want to do it. but also there's no behind here. Okay, so one of the things we kind of continually are telling you in the program is like, you need to figure out your pace. And when you're better in touch with your pace, then you'll be predictable, and predictable is very powerful. So we're working on those things. So the touch points are ask me anything is weekly. Daily, you could be asking your peers in the group. We're seeing that chat. It's not like we're going to ignore you if you ask something in the Hive Mind chat. And then around the milestones, Gina, do you want to add anything? Because I haven't given you the chance to talk.
No, I've been like nodding along, and I do think that one of the biggest things is evaluating. Like if you're not hitting a milestone, just sitting down and thinking about why. That process before you even get to a coach is really super useful. And I will agree with Kathy that for the most part, when people evaluate those kinds of things, they're like, well, I only wrote X number instead of Y number, and X number is ridiculously huge anyway. That really probably not hitting a certain milestone or a goal is an indication that maybe it's too high, because we're already doing massive amounts of work. We just kind of forget about it because we want to do massive +1, or infinity +1, as my daughter likes to say.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yes, I'm sorry, I'm trying to spell in the chat. There. Okay. Julia asked, when is the January retreat? I just put the dates in the chat. And that January retreat, so just like to be clear on the things coming up. Mini treat, that's the 1-day event that's just for the Navigate new cohort, December 16th. We're going to do a New Year's writing planning workshop, which is a client only workshop. So it's like everybody who's in any of our programs gets to come to that. And as a cool like holiday bonus for this group of navigators who come in, you get like a free ticket for a friend. So you can invite a friend to it and bring a friend to that New Year's writing planning session, which is going to be January 13th. And then the writing retreat, which is only for the first 15 people who sign up for Navigate, is going to be January 27th, 28th, 29th. All of these things happen via Zoom. This is a great question, Julia, and it's definitely like a frequently asked question. I was thinking of starting Navigate, but I was wondering how Amplify and Navigate are different. Yeah, so that's a great question. There's a couple of differences. One is that Amplify is a group coaching program. So Navigate is really it's all the things that I mentioned, right? So it's like a 10 system modules, and this year-long kind of recurring support with the milestones. But there's no there's no group coaching, there's no one-on-one coaching. There's no group coaching in terms of like, it's just a group of 8 or 10 people, which is what Amplify is. So Amplify is a 6-month program specifically geared to people who are early career. So people who are prepping to go up for tenure if you're in the US, Canada tenure system, or go up for that kind of first promotion if you're in the European system. And Amplify is much more of a career program. So Navigate is really about writing. Like it's very much about writing and publishing. And Amplify is too, in the sense that we call it a faculty writing accelerator. I've been rethinking that subtitle, but anyway, but it really is like this more hands-on, more coach guided approach to your career development. Always driven with writing. Like that's how we think career development happens, actually, is like kind of through the writing process. But like Gina would always say, like Navigate's a project management course. Like Navigate's like, how am I going to get my time management and my project management down so that I can get this writing done? Amplify is really more of a group coaching program that we're talking more about career level stuff. And Elevate, which is our mid-career program, is it's the least writing program and the most career vision kind of program. And that's really about up leveling your post-tenure career or your mid-career. thinking about like, well, now that you're an experienced scholar, what do you want to do next? Do you want to go up for full? What does that look like? You want to be a dean? You want to found a research center? You want to write that book that you've been sitting on forever? Like, what is the thing? And then we help you achieve it. And it's really, again, an Elevate is a very one-on-one focused program. So as you go up through the program levels, they become more and more one-on-one focused or more high touch kind of focus. So we have these like systematized ways with the milestone check-ins to, you know, have interactions with you. But in Amplify, you have bi-weekly group calls with a small cohort that are coach led. And so the content is up leveled, but also the way we deliver the content is up leveled. So Amplify, like instead of just writing systems, we talk about resilient writing. Instead of just, you know, talking about pipeline, we're talking about strategy, you know, and how the pipeline kind of fits into your career strategy. So it's just, each program is designed to be kind of up leveled from the next. The thing about Amplify is that the next cohort isn't starting until September. And so if you were like, should I do Amplify or Navigate? Do Navigate because it's like, start getting help now, right? Like start making those advances now. And then you can see how you're feeling in September. You know, where am I going to be in September? I don't know. Maybe it's time for me to, you know, kind of take it up even a level. So I hope that that's helpful. Gina, do you want to add anything? I don't know if I blathered.
I do. I was thinking about like what people say after Navigate, which is essentially like, no, I'm good. I know how to, I'm organized. I know how to get my work done. I've got my systems, and like that in and of itself is enough, right? Like that's enough for a lot of people, like got it taken care of. If I could be more organized, I'd love it, you know? But when people leave Amplify and Elevate, they use words like transformational, you know, that this really gave them the vision of what they want their career to be. So if that's like something that you're kind of missing out on or would really like to be able to tap into, that's definitely kind of an Amplify level thing. But at the same time, you know, everybody who has taken Navigate is like, I got all that basic stuff down. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, thank you. Please feel free. We've got 10 minutes left. Feel free to, you know, pop any more questions in the chat. I want to like make sure I've checked off all the questions on my list that people normally ask. So I'm just going to go ahead and like put this one out there. So sometimes people ask, I'm a student, or I'm a postdoc, or I'm an adjunct, or I'm early career, or I'm mid-career, or I'm late career. Is this for me? Okay, so I want to address that in case, you know, especially if you're a student or a postdoc or an adjunct, like sometimes people are like, well, is this really for me? Because you talk about tenure a lot. So like, to be completely honest and transparent, this program was created for tenure track professors. And if you're international, tenure track, you can just substitute it with at whatever level of permanency, quote unquote, is normal for your country, right? Or for the institutions in your country. So because it was created for tenure track professors, some of the advice assumes a level of job stability that adjunct professors might not feel they have. Students don't have a job yet necessarily, you know, like postdocs are still under an advisor. So like there's just a little bit of difference between the amount, like the kinds, how am I gonna say this? Like the kind of power you might feel that you have to implement some of the things we talk about, you know, about boundary setting and time management and stuff in the program. However, having said that, there is zero, like where nobody's checking your degree on the way in and nobody's checking if you have a job or anything like that. Like, no. So there have been grad students who are like, no, I want to hit the ground running. So I'm going to take this program. There have been postdocs who've taken it. There have been adjuncts who have taken it and had great success with it. That decision is up to you, you know, like, so if you feel like, oh, Kathy's made this program is not really for me. I want you to understand why we say that this is a program for professors. It's because you might not feel like you have the kind of like stability in the job to implement some of the things. So that it really is a question of like looking inside yourself and saying like, okay, well, what do I want to do? Right. But then in terms of like, I'm early career or I'm mid career, or maybe you're even late career and you're interested, this, Navigate is for all of those career moments. It's for anyone who wants to publish more things and to do it without just like working more hours, because that's not going to work. That's not a sustainable way to do it, right? Where you want to publish more things without like grinding yourself into the ground. Then this is for you. So we have a mix always of people at different career levels, and that's part of the deal, right? And then one last thing about that, and then I'll get to Julia's question. The other question we get sometimes is like, well, should I just wait till summer? Because, Kathy usually opens that program in May too, which is true. We usually do. I don't know if we will this summer, but that's what we often open it Black Friday and early May. And so I just want to address that, because I think that many people operate under this, like, I'll write in the summer model. And what we're trying to do in Navigate is say, you could take a break in the summer, because we're going to teach you a sustainable way to keep your writing flowing throughout the year. You don't need to wait until you have like a period where you could binge, right? Because, you get to May and you turn in grades and actually you need to like rest. You know what I mean? So if you're thinking like, oh, I don't have a lot of time next semester, I'll just wait and do Navigate in the summer. I would encourage you to think about how Navigate would help you have a better semester, and help you to do get this writing practice really underway and get a publication out between now and the summer. Like, don't wait till summer. Like, let's get some things out now. Because it's designed, that's also why it's like a year long. We don't want to teach you something that you can only do, when you think you have big blocks of time. That's not what this is about at all. This is about sustainable. This is about manageable. This is about rhythm. It's about momentum. It's about like, let's create a way of working. It's driven by the writing. Let's create a way of working that is manageable. Yes, Julia, they will everything. So let me tell you our policy about recording stuff, just so that in general. So those Monday group calls that we have, we call them momentum mindset calls. They're all about developing your writer's mindset and keeping momentum with your writing practice. They're meant to be like a weekly burst of energy where you get to connect with people for half an hour and get like a little oomph to start your week. We do not record those. The reason is that most of them happen in breakout rooms. You can't record breakout rooms anyway, so it's kind of like a little silly. It's a little like, it's not really worth this. And we thought it would be better to give you that content as like a set of questions you could answer in a journal. That would be a better way to replicate that program, that piece of the program, or that call, if you can't make it live. So we don't record those. But yes, anything that's a workshop, even like Gina does the like pre-sprint workshops, all the writing planning sessions, those types of things that are workshops, the workshops at the mini treat, some of the things will be group calls, so there will be breakout, and the breakouts won't be recorded. But anything that's like a workshop and not a coaching call, we will record and they will be available to you. So yeah. All right, 5 minutes. Any last questions or thoughts? Thank you, Julia, for coming. Thank everybody for coming. I'm really excited that you were here today. We will be sending the recording out. So if you came halfway through or missed something, as soon as we can get this, downloaded and uploaded, we will send this to you all. And I just really hope to see you, Gina and I think I can speak for Gina when I say that we hope to see you inside of Navigate, and we can't wait to get started. We're very excited. Yay. Thank you, everybody. Bye.